What's going on, guys? Matt here. So I know it's been a while since I posted a knife review. I'll try to be more consistent, but we had a baby, we moved house, we've been doing all this stuff, and it's just been kind of crazy lately. So SOG Flash FL is what we are looking at today. Really interesting knife, and we're going to get into the specs, what I like, what I don't like, and whether or not I'd recommend it. But first, let's do some size comparisons on the SOG Flash FL. So let's compare it to a Rat number 1. Guys, what happened to Ontario? Let me know in the comments if you know. I remember hearing things. I know they're not really producing knives anymore, even though I still see them post on Facebook about all their models, but I don't see any available. It's super strange. Let me know if you know what's going on with Ontario. I'd love to see them producing knives, especially their American-made fixed blades, which I really quite enjoyed. So similar size to the Rat 1. And let's compare it to one more. We'll do the Spyderco Manix Lightweight. Again, similar size blade. This is kind of your quote full-size knife, you could kind of consider it. And we'll talk about that in specs. So blade length, we're looking at 3.4 inches, 0.11 on that blade stock at its thickest, 5.3 ounces, so pretty heavy on this blade. We'll talk about that later. Close length is 4.5 inches. This is made in China. It is thumb stud opening, as you can see. The steel, it says on the website, is 8CR13 MOV. It says Cryo 440. Can you guys see that? Yeah, Cryo 440 on this, which, again, we'll talk about later because that's a little bit confusing. To pick this up, you're looking at under 30 bucks. You know, I got this thing, I think, for 25 bucks at Cabela's. So inexpensive blade. So let's talk about what I like. So I really like the feel of this knife, and I think it's because of the handle. It's a frame lock, and I didn't mention that in specs, but you can see that frame lock design. The handle, when I first saw it, and maybe you guys are looking at this thinking, what is wrong with you? That's hotspot central right there. Especially this part right here is what I was thinking was going to provide a hotspot. This handle actually fits my hand really well, and they just designed this handle really nice to fit the contours of your fingers really well. Now, again, it depends on who you are when it comes to handle material, and if it's going to, or handle design, and if it's going to fit your hand. So get this in your hand maybe before you purchase it, but this really indexes with my hand very nicely. It's very comfortable. I was doing some wood carving with this. No problem, no hot spots. So really quite nice handle, and that contributes to the feel of the blade. So I really like the feel and the handle of this. Next thing I really like is the blade. This is just a really nice, thin, full flat ground blade. It's ground relatively thin on the edge too. So this slices really nicely. I know a lot of you guys prefer full flat grinds, especially for like things like food preparation. You got a full flat grind right there, and another full flat grind with that Spyderco as well. So with food preparation, full flat grinds are just really nice. A nice slicey blade is just enjoyable to use. Let me know in the comments how you feel about that. There's just something about a thinly ground blade that when you're using it and you don't have to put much pressure on kind of the blade when you're using it, it's just more enjoyable to use in my opinion. So really like the blade on this thing. And the last thing I like is I like the construction. I know they're heavy, and we'll talk about that and what I don't like, but steel frame locks just add a sense of security to a blade. It's kind of like the cold steel triad lock. It just adds some security to the blade. It makes it feel like it's a very strong, stout knife, and so I really like the construction as a steel frame lock. Now, along with that, let's move into what I don't like about the blade. So it is a steel frame lock, so it is heavy, 5.3 ounces. That is heavy for a 3.5 ounce blade, or a 3.5 inch blade. I feel like these could have been a little bit thinner, or you know, some milling could have been taken out, and you could have charged a few extra bucks, and we could have lightened this blade up at least to be under 5 ounces. But 5.3 ounces for a 3.5 inch blade, that is a heavy knife. So yeah, that is one thing I don't like, is the weight. Another thing I don't like is how kind of SOG is kind of known for their branding, and this pocket clip works great. It's a nice deep ride pocket clip. So it works really well, but I just don't like, I think this is kind of gaudy having your logo right there. I would prefer a much more simple clip. This wire clip is one of the best clips out there from Spyderco. Something more simple like that is it's just a lot less gaudy in my opinion. So although I like the clip itself, I don't like the branding. I think the branding is kind of silly. And the last thing that I don't like about this blade is So let's compare it. Let me explain this real quick. This is a little bit difficult to explain. So there are multiple. You guys know this if you're knife guys or gals rather. There are multiple different kinds of 440 steel. 440A steel is a very soft steel and it doesn't hold an edge very well. 440C steel, on the other hand, if it comes from a reputable manufacturer, which I would call SOG and a reputable manufacturer, is a good steel. And from what I understand, it's kind of in the same realm as like VG10. So this is the SOG, it was the Tellus FX, so the Tellus fixed blade. Got this really good deal on this blade, and we'll have to do a review on it at some point. So this is 440C. So I'm totally cool with that steel on this blade. This says Cryo 440. Now, I don't know if that's 440C or 440A. My guess is it's 440A. And if it's 440A, that is a very soft steel and it's not going to hold an edge very well. So that's the one thing that I don't like is I don't know what kind of steel it is. It says HCR13 MOV on the website, but clearly that is not the case. If it's 440C, I'm totally cool with that steel. It comes from a reputable manufacturer. They're not lying about probably the formulation of that 440C, so it's probably going to hold an edge really, really well. My guess, if I had to guess, is they are the same steels and it is 440C because, you know, they're both say Cryo 440, and this probably just doesn't have the C notation on it. So that would be my guess, is that it's 440C. I haven't used it enough to kind of tell if it's too soft or, you know, the difference in the steel. So but that is one thing I don't like is I don't know what the steel is necessarily, what designation that 440 is. So you guys let me know if it's listed in the comments or if it's listed somewhere else. You let me know in the comments. So that is something I don't like, is we just don't know what kind of steel it is. So anyway, so would I recommend it? Even with that steel issue, yes, I would, because it's a great knife, and for under 30 bucks, you get that really nice full flat ground blade. And I just think this blade and this comfortable handle make it worth that 28 bucks or whatever you're going to pay for it. So guys, let me know what else you'd like to see reviewed in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.